What's your blood alcohol content? How did you get camo Jordans?
They make them.
Is it not a word? Dude, it is to a word. You harken back.
You harking back.
No, you
right?
do not.
I was useless. Wait, hold on. Delonica?
I'm hurting, man.
Are you puking?
Did you just bust out a Sargento?
We're a Tillamook family.
What's the proper technique to milk the teat?
If they are competing for state championships, they ain't paying for their blizzards.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Marty Smith podcast here at Outsider. It is Easter week, so we can just start right there. Wesley, Travis, we can... I love Easter week. I love Easter week so much. It is such a beautiful time of year and such a beautiful reminder of making sure that you are full of gratitude. And I have little kids, and so Easter is extra special when you have little kids. And so I love this week. Laney's whole fam, the whole fam damnly is coming in to town. So we're going to host Laney's parents, two of her three sisters, and their families. And so we are looking forward to how this week unfolds.
Marty,
what's that?
Where's Laney's family from?
South Jersey. Laney grew up in Ocean City, New Jersey. Here in just a couple months, I will be doing the podcast from Ocean City, New Jersey, Wesley, because we spend our summers up there. I love it. It's an amazing little quaint beach town that is really old school. Most of the businesses are cash businesses, and you park your car and you ride your bike everywhere. It's a dry town, which you know how much I like my Jack Daniels, but I can get that right over the bridge at the Circle Liquor Store in Summers Point. I love that Ocean City is dry, and one of the reasons that I love that it's dry is it just creates a very different type of energy, and everybody there's having booze.
Yeah, because
but they go right across the bridge to get it. Yeah, so we'll unpack the Masters experience as we make our way through this. But how was your week, bro?
Oh, it was excellent. You will never guess who I saw last week.
Okay, let me try. Let me see. Guess who you saw last week? I'm trying to think if it was somebody we discussed, like that we talked to or told old lies about. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm brain dead right now. What you got?
I saw you all over my TV every single time I watched the coverage of the Masters, man, and you had a fresh suit on, seersuckers. You looked like you were a little cold out there, wearing your CFP zip-up shirt. But I want to applaud you and Travis for the Masters podcast that I listened to as I did some grocery shopping and errand running. Definitely check that out. If you didn't listen to it, it's still awesome and topical. And I got to say, my favorite production choice about that show, and we'll get back to our show in a minute.
Well, it is our show. We can talk about whatever we want.
Every
Go
time
ahead.
Y'all would switch between sound bites or interviews, there was this little whoosh, golf. It's like the sound of like a golf swing. And I thought that was a nice little touch. But great job, man. Seriously, your coverage was fantastic. The HD camera didn't make you look bad or anything. I know you're concerned about that sometimes with
when you're my age, Wesley,
with your diet and your fish and beer consumption. But seriously, y'all did a great job.
Well, thank you. It's an amazing blessing just to get to be there, first of all, but to be part of ESPN's coverage and get to do so much with and for them and all of my friends that are part of that broadcast. To get to do the interviews at the par 3 contest first tee was humbling beyond words. To come on air, that's a 5-hour production. The first 3 hours are on ESPN Plus, and then the final 2 hours are on ESPN1. On terrestrial television and whatnot and all that. But it was amazing to me to come on air for the par 3 contest and really kind of bring us on air interviewing Mr. Tom Watson, Mr. Gary Player, and Mr. Raymond Floyd, who have 6 green jackets between them. And so that was extremely humbling, and interviewing all the players with whom I chatted there at the par 3, and then you move on throughout the week, and the Tiger story, which was already the biggest story in the world, certainly the world of sports, and maybe the world. I know that there were people watching all over the globe what he was going to do and how he was going to perform and manage walking an extremely physically taxing Augusta National Golf Club with one leg, basically. And it was a wild thing to witness. I don't think it's an overstatement to call it miraculous. I did so several times on ESPN. And then there's the Masters podcast side, which Travis and I are so grateful that the folks at Augusta National believe enough in us to offer us that responsibility and that blessing. And we had unbelievable guests. Shout out to Mackenzie and Matty Lou and everybody that was involved with the Augusta National team for helping us secure those great guests. Harry Kane is a Premier League soccer icon. And then we had Josh Allen and Sam Darnold. We had Larry Fitzgerald, who had tremendous insight on Tiger Woods. So it was very fulfilling. So thank you for your kind words. It's quite a week. I mean, it's hard to describe unless you're in it just how all-consuming it is. It is all-consuming when you're there covering the Masters, and it's even more so when you're doing it for multiple platforms and multiple companies and that kind of thing. But we had some moments. Man, did we have some moments that stopped time. Of course, with we had the opportunity to interview Tiger several times, a chat with him, and he was very good to us. He gave us time and he gave us insight, for which we were very grateful about this challenge that he undertook. And it was amazing to see. The galleries, ESPN charged me with trying to encapsulate what I was witnessing and do it in 2 or 2.5 minutes. And I did my best, but it's a spectacle unlike any other in sport. There's nobody else that has that magnetic energy anywhere. And I asked Harry Kane that. I mean, he's seen it. He played against Cristiano Ronaldo. He's, again, a football star over in Europe. Those dudes are as famous as it gets. I think he has like 15.5 million Instagram followers. So he's famous. They know what that's about. And I asked him how Tiger Woods' popularity compares to some of his peers or whatnot. And he even said it's just not even close. So there's more stories to share, and we will throughout the time here. But it was a phenomenal, fantastic, humbling week down in Augusta.
Tell me about Scotty Scheffler, man. When you talked to him and talked to Bubba the Saturday before he won, and you obviously shared the quote that you had from him about his soul. And
Yep.
I think what stood out to me about this year's Masters was all of the focus was on Tiger physically, but the winner revealed a lot about himself mentally and to you spiritually. So you covered all those bases, and Scotty has that rock solid, not going to bother me mindset between the ears, which every successful golfer needs. I feel like Brooks Koepka had it over the last few years. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, and I don't know if it was the battle with Bryson DeChambeau that derailed him a little bit, but that was what always struck me about Brooks, was his intestinal fortitude. And you watch Scotty, and he has the same thing with not as much ego, to be quite honest, but he also has what matters to him in his life. Those perspectives, those priorities, totally nailed down. And when he hit that shot on number 3, Brittany, my wife, looked at me and said, he's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say new. I'm the worst in the world that's ever been born at prognostication. I can't pick games. I can't pick winners. I'm horrible. And when he hit his third shot on 18 on Saturday from the pine straw, the complete lack of concern that he showed, the composure that he maintained, I was completely taken aback. And you know, he blistered that thing. He nuked it from the pine straw to the back of the 18th green. And right then, I just kind of looked at Travis, and I'm like, I think this thing's dusted, bro. I think it's over. And then, you know, we got the opportunity to interview Scotty one-on-one after that third-round performance. And the question that I had for him was, what was it about your what is it about your personality or your preparation or your makeup or your past, or what is it that enables you to stay so composed on such a massive global stage when you know the greatest dream you could ever fathom is at stake? When those are, when that is what is on the table for you, if you just don't screw it up, how do you maintain that composure? And again, I mean, I was blown away by his answer. I'm paraphrasing in this moment, but what he said was, if I win this golf tournament, yes, it will change my life on the golf course, but it will not change my life at home, because it will not impact my heart. It will not impact my soul. And when you know it's already written, then who am I to put myself in a position to even be anxious? And that allows me to play freely, and thereby I can just go do my best and have great solace in whatever that is. And he is 25 years old. I will be 46 on Friday. I learned so much from him in that moment, and I felt very small, if we're being honest, because it just really it reminded me that so often our insecurities and our anxiety is driven by our ego. I don't know the exact quote, Wes, but there was an unbelievable moment with Giannis Antetokounmpo when he was asked about, do you remember I forget exactly what the context was, but he had this unbelievable thought that if we're worried about the past, it's, I forget what, like our ego. If we're worried about the future, it's Travis may be able to look that quote up right now. It was a tremendous moment of clarity.
When you focus on the past, that's your ego. When I focus on the future, it's my pride.
That's it. And he's 25 years old or whatever. You know, he's mid-20s. And so these young people with wisdom and perspective so far beyond their years and life experience are using these platforms at the Masters tournament, as the MVP of the NBA, as an NBA champion, to teach all of us that, especially in this world with so much venom, especially in this world where people go on their phone to vent their frustrations, and in so many instances, they choose somebody that they see often to take that out on, whether that's athletes, entertainers, media people, whatever. I had a guy I woke up this morning to a guy telling me he was going to find me and whip my ass. And so
Travis,
that can make me
you?
mad. He said that to me about 6 times this week.
It was not me.
But anyway, the point is, I was so grateful to Scotty Scheffler for reminding me of how small we are. And it was a beautiful thing. And then he went and closed the deal, and he used his post-Masters press conference to even elaborate on that further. And to say I'm impressed would be a colossal understatement. He's a special one.
This isn't a golf podcast. This is a dad podcast, parent podcast. But I tweeted on Saturday, I said, if you've ever wondered why dads love golf so much, the Masters leader just spent 20 minutes working in pine straw and shrubbery and promptly put on a vest. If that doesn't sum up why dads love golf and the Masters, that's it. One more quote that I thought of when I heard Scotty. Big fan of C.S. Lewis, and he had this concept of rings, these inner rings that people try to find themselves in, the status that they seek in their lives. And you nailed it, talking about social media and ego. And with athletes and winning the Masters, it doesn't really get much more of a status symbol than that. But he wrote about the quest of the inner ring of status. He said, it'll break your hearts unless you break it. But if you break it, a surprising result will follow. If in your working hours you make the work your end, you will presently find yourself all unawares inside the only circle in your profession that really matters. You will be one of the sound craftsmen, and other sound craftsmen will know it. And he's a craftsman, man. He is owning his craft, playing golf, and he's one of the best craftsmen there is right now, winning everything he's done on the tour and now winning a green jacket. It's an incredible run, and he's, as we've said, only 25 years old.
Travis has the statistic, and he can share it with us, but the statistic that blows my mind the most is that only 2 golfers have won 4 of the 6 tournaments leading up to and including the Masters, and that include a major and a World Golf Championship event. And those 2 golfers are Scotty Scheffler and they are Tiger Woods, and Tiger did it like 8 times. And it just tells you the rare air that he's in. And he's leading with humility. I got asked a bunch of times on ESPN this week about what Tiger is doing and why we're seeing this different person. And it's because he's leading with humility in my mind. Tiger Woods is a humbled man. He's a man that is overwhelmed with gratitude that he is able to play the game that he loves so dearly when for all intents and purposes, admittedly, he could have lost his leg and is lucky to be alive. And we marvel at the fact that he was able to walk 90 holes at Augusta National last week. And the example that he set on a broader plane to me was just so important. And let's go back to Scotty real quick, Wes. I have a friend, I just talked to him this morning, who is battling cancer. And he told me that when he saw me report on Scotty's spiritual approach to life, he desperately needed that message in that moment. And that it inspired him to go out and get off the couch and be social and work in the yard and all the things that are hard right now and difficult for him with what he's managing. But when he heard that it inspired him so deeply. And, I mean, you want to talk about feeling real small. It's just unbelievable that Scheffler's using his platform that way. It's impressive.
All right, so coming up, Tiger has said that he will try to play in the PGA Championship. He wants to play at the Open at St. Andrews. The PGA is in Tulsa, so if you want to talk about an easy walk, it's pretty flat out there typically. Yep. I don't know about Southern Hills that much, though. And then the U.S. Open is in Massachusetts. So we've already done a live show from Augusta. Can't wait to do one in Tulsa, Massachusetts, and then go over to the Old Course for live shows down the road. What do you think about that, Travis?
I mean, if they want to have us out there to do some podcasts, let's do it.
We, Travis and I had an unbelievable experience. I detailed this on the Masters podcast, but it certainly bears repeating here. We had the opportunity. There was a gallery attendant at the 12th tee at Amen Corner on Sunday. Every Sunday, as I stated last week on the podcast, I grab a couple beers once I get cleared from ESPN, and I know I'm not going to be on camera. And I go down to Amen Corner, and I have a beer for me and a beer for Dad. And I was in that mode. And Travis and I walked down to Amen Corner. We had a couple beers. And it's good old boy central. I mean, it's like the college football fans are everywhere. And they want to ask about their team. And so I'm chatting with a couple guys. And all of a sudden, this attendant is right in my face. And he said, Mr. Smith, I'm a huge fan of your work. If you would please follow me. I have 2 chairs on the ropes right down here at 12T, and I would be honored if you would sit in them. And I went, well, what? Like, I was blown away. Whose are they? What's the deal here? Are we going to, we don't want to upset anybody? And he goes, no, I'm the tee box attendant. We would appreciate if you would sit in them. So Travis and I go down to the 12 tee box, and the rope is like going across our legs, basically. And we had the opportunity to watch 5 or 6 pairings come, finish their 11th, tee off on the 12th, finish the 12th, tee off on the 13th, and drink a couple beers. Well, while we were there, we befriended some sweet ladies who were seated beside us. And then Hideki Matsuyama exits the 11th green and walks up the hill to the 12th tee right in front of us. I mean, I don't know, Travis, what was he? Less than 10 feet away? 10 feet away, something like that?
Maybe 10 feet. Like, if you, cough just the slightest, he was going to hear it.
Right. And so we're sitting there, and, he's the defending Masters champion, so he got a standing ovation. Everybody at Amen Corner stood up, and he acknowledged with gratitude their sweet gesture. And as we're sitting there, these 2 young boys, maybe 10, 12 years old, of Asian descent, hustled down the galley, the alleyway between the chairs there at the 12th. And as they're making their way down, the gallery attendant is doing this, like ushering them forward and forward and forward, and they keep coming. And he asks another patron if he might borrow the bag in which you put the master's chair to carry it. And he spreads this bag across the alleyway so that these young men have a place, these boys have a place to sit and watch their hero tee off at the Masters at Amen Corner. It gets better. When Matsuyama hit his tee shot, a substantial divot went flying through the air. And it was probably, I don't know, Travis, the size of my hand, maybe a little bigger than that. And the tee was still embedded in the divot. And Matsuyama makes his way towards Hogan Bridge to go over Rays Creek to walk to the 12th green. And that attendant picks up the divot in which the tee was still embedded, and he walks over to those young boys, and he folds it over in half with the tee sticking up. And he says, "Here you go, fellas, I got a sandwich for you." And he hands this divot to these young boys, and they looked at each other equally giddy and dumbfounded that this was happening. And I thought about it on a broader plane when I wrote it for the Masters podcast, that while that was a throwaway gesture for that attendant, while it was a kind moment that he would just move directly on from, these young boys, that piece of ground, that is hallowed ground that they are holding. And if they nourish it with the water of passion moving forward, it will grow roots that will last well beyond their lifetimes. And I just, in terms of we spend countless hours as writers and orators trying to capture the mystique of the Masters. I've never seen any moment that did it more than that.
That's the best sandwich anyone got at Augusta National.
It was, it was just something else to see, man. It was awesome.
Well, that's also because the pimento cheese and egg salad is also just not good.
Travis.
You're going to need to shut your mouth, son. That's a blasphemous statement that you just uttered.
It's not. Give me the barbecue sandwich, the chicken biscuit, the sausage biscuit, but the pimento and the egg salad, they're just not good.
So I commented on one of your things this week, and I said The only thing y'all didn't do was revive the peach ice cream sandwich. Travis, sandwich hater down here, says it's because he doesn't like it. There are just some things that
What don't you like about it?
Need to put out in public. Some things you just can keep to yourself, man.
I just think that it's not the Georgia peach ice cream just isn't, it's not good. Like, give me a vanilla with the cookie on both sides of the sandwich, perfect. But I just don't think it's that good. So when I found out that because of, shortages, they weren't going to have it this year, I was like, okay.
I believe they actually make that
Wes, you
peach
gotta
ice
understand
cream. The
something.
Georgia peach ice cream is made in Tennessee, which is a plot twist.
That
Wait,
is
what?
That is a little bit of a plot twist. Imagine if it was made in the Penn State Creamery, the Nittany Lion Creamery. The reason that
Christie
Travis
Cookie
doesn't
Co.
do a whole lot
Sorry,
of
Christie Cookie Co. The
What is
Christie
it?
Cookie Co.
Christie
Yeah, in
Cookie Co.
Nashville.
Okay, it's Travis. You could go right down the street and get some.
Go tell them to their
you
face
think that-
you don't like their peach ice cream sandwich,
think
Travis.
They're going to put up a picket line right outside of the Outsider headquarters. They're going to come to Brentwood, and they're going to have signs that say, Georgia Peach, Travis sucks. Georgia Peach, Travis sucks.
Do you think that there's a shortage because the state of Tennessee said,
I'll lead
we're gonna
that
stick it
charge.
to Georgia?
I didn't hear your question, Travis, but you're wrong about your opinion.
I'll re-ask. Do you think the state of Tennessee is doing this on purpose to stick it to Georgia? Like, we're not going to give them their ice cream that they're so prideful about?
That's a good question. If I'm Christy, maybe we should try to get Christy on the show. She probably won't talk on the record about her famous ice cream sandwich, but if I'm Christy,
She will not.
I'd be honored to have anything from the state of Tennessee represented in the great state of Georgia.
One of the many reasons that Travis probably doesn't love the Georgia Peach ice cream sandwich is because there is a beer that they sell at Augusta National, and the beer is called Crow's Nest. And what the beer is, by the way, it's absolutely phenomenal. If any of y'all are fans of Lion and Kugel Summer Shandy, which is the easiest drinking boat beer, well, I mean Coors Light maybe, but Summer Shandies are easy drinking boat beer. That's a Team Smith Incorporated staple on the pontoon when we're floating around Lake Norman. Crow's Nest is Lion and Kugel Summer Shandy times 5. It's just better. And it could be because we're at the Masters tournament. By all means, it's delicious. It's this like lemon-infused beer that's so refreshing and easy to drink. And this is a guesstimation. All right, Travis and I were on the grounds at Augusta National for 8 days. Sunday to Sunday, we were on the grounds. I bet you that man drank 50 Crow's Nests. Travis, how about how accurate do you think that estimation is?
I think it's a little under, because I know Friday only had one on property. Sunday when I got there, I only had one drink. So I think it's under.
You should have picked up a scorecard
Okay.
from the gift shop while you were there not buying me things and done a tally, kind of like par, score to par style.
Well, I can do some research because I have all my cups. Well, actually, I lost a few. It was devastating. It was probably the worst thing that happened this week. But I have some of Marty's, but I can get an estimate. And to your point, though, about
I got
not
my
buying
request in
anything,
pretty late.
I
That's
got
my
you
bad.
a hat. I got you a hat, and then I said, if you don't like this one, I have a plethora of hats that I bought this year. I bought, I think, 8 in total. I said, choose any of them. And you said, no, thank you. So, sir, you had your chance to get something.
So, for the record, here's what happens when you enter the Masters vortex. You get in there and you lose complete contact with the outside world. And However, when you do reconnect to the outside world, every friend you've ever had is like, hey, man, can you go to the store and get me a hat, or can you just get me like a polo, or maybe you could get me a quarter zip or something.
Ex-girlfriends, the cousin that your family disowned.
I'm telling you.
They're all texting you.
So one of those friends of mine, here's a flex, like total name drop, watch your toes. But one of those friends, like, I don't remember what day it was, Travis, Friday, Saturday, something like that. I get a text from Luke Combs. And Luke's like, hey, bud, hook your boy up. So I'm like, well, what do you want? He goes, get me a hat. And I'm like, well, there's all kinds of hats. It's the greatest hat selection in the history of the Masters. What do you want? Do you want like a trucker hat? Do you want like a rope hat? What do you want, dude? Like traditional, regular old hat? And so he goes, rope all day. So I'm like, all right, so Travis, we got to get Luke a rope hat. So
we tried.
Guess what he picked? He went with the green rope hat. So Luke's going to get a green Masters Tournament rope hat. You're welcome.
Well, hold on a second here, Marty. I think you have some, but I have some. I know Luke will be listening to this. Luke, I live in Nashville. I have a hat. I have multiple hats. I will trade you hats for tickets to a concert at some point. I think that's fair for me to try to throw out there, right?
All right, I think that's totally fair. I know he'll be listening. I'm sure that he will respond to this with some sort of video that we can post next week. Luke, you're on the clock.
Did you happen to see Luke's post from Tortuga?
No, but I saw Morgan Wallen's. That looked like a madhouse, dude.
So Luke posted a photo, and he said he might have forgot some of the lyrics to South on You, and then also got burnt. His face, Marty, you thought you had issues with the sun this past week?
Well, he's a ginger too, dude. He's as pale as I am.
You need to get him a straw hat.
I do need to get him a straw hat. I incorporate all the different measures. If you when Travis and I are walking around the grounds at Augusta National, I have on every single part of me is covered except my hands. And I put so much SPF 7 trillion on my hands and my neck too, to make sure that no sun can penetrate this force field. I could probably get shot in the hand with a 12 gauge and it would ricochet off of my hand. Because I don't want anything to do with it. And I wear this straw hat that I was gifted a couple of years ago. I think it was the 2020 Masters, by an awesome, awesome kid named Zack Hendricks. He's a Georgia Bulldog, West Blankenship. Cool. Zack is an awesome, awesome person with just a beautiful heart. And he was, I don't remember if he was interning with Augusta or if he was working there that year. It was one of the two. And I always use my notepad. If I don't have coverage, I just use my notepad to shield my face. And he saw me doing that at Amen Corner. I was standing there all by myself. And he comes down, he's like, hey, can I help you out, man? I was like, you can. I said, I will. Here's my credit card. Take my credit card. Take my credit card and get me one of those straw hats. And Zach was sweet enough to do that. And I wear that hat every day. Well, if you saw us walking around, I don't even know if you guys are all too young. There was something called Where is Carmen San Diego?
Yeah, where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
Yeah, something like that. And don't they have like a humongous, aren't they super shady looking, like with their
She wears like a
brim hat pulled
Kentucky
down,
Derby
right?
hat.
Yeah, that's it. That's me. That's me at the Masters. But now everybody knows it, so I can't hide too long. I have no idea where the hell I was going with that story. But anyway, Luke's face. Yeah, Luke's sunburn. Of course he is pale. Of course he's getting a sunburn. But look, anytime that an artist, these guys forget their words sometimes. It happens. It happens to all of them. And people are like, how the hell could you forget the words to a song you wrote? Because they wrote 50 million songs. And he probably doesn't sing South on You every night. And he might have had a cold beer too many. It happens to the best of us. Hell, when you guys are singing karaoke, you got the words scrolling in front of you and you can't even do it. It happens.
See, but the difference for fans, though, is I think they're actually better at singing the songs when they're drunk. They remember the lyrics better. So it's like a reverse, like where the singer actually stumbles, the fans actually know it better.
There are a couple of things that I am better at when I have a buzz. I am better at cornhole. I'm better at bowling. I'm certainly better at pool. And with golf, there's a really fine line with golf where it just goes. I mean, you go from like, man, I am going to shoot 80 today to, damn it.
I'll never forget one of the callers you
like,
and McGee had that was talking about the best golf tip he ever got. And he was talking about that threshold. And I think he had a few.
It's a thin line, Wesley.
And the guy that gave him advice said, you need to open up sooner. And he said, what are you talking about? Like my hips? And he said, no, you need to start drinking sooner.
Yeah. We had, this week on Marty and McGee, we had so many unbelievable calls of folks who, again, I'm going back to the spirituality of the grounds at Augusta National. People who went there for the first time and spread their father's ashes at Amen Corner and all of that kind of stuff. Calls were unbelievably beautiful. And, people cried on air. And I loved everything about it. And then I had a moment on Sunday morning. I had the early shift for Sports Center. I forget what it was, like 7 to, I don't remember what it was, Travis, like
8 to 10.
8 to 10. And so we get there, and it's probably 7:15 in the morning, and it's freezing cold, and I'm standing in the sunshine, basking in the sun. It was the one warm place. And I'm by myself, and I'm just standing on the first fairway in front of our camera, and there was a gentleman to my right, maybe 8 feet away. And Wes, I'm not kidding you, he had his hands behind his back, and he was just staring at the grass.
Was it the ghost of Bobby
fairway.
Jones?
Just staring at it, like leaned over, staring at it. And I'm watching this dude, and I am not kidding you, a tear rolled out of his left eye. And so, being inquisitive and being a storyteller, I walked over to him, and he goes, "Oh, my God, man, what's up, Marty? What are you doing here? That's right, great to meet you." And I said, "Sir, I couldn't help but see your emotion. May I ask what it is?" And he told me a whole story. He was 26 years military retired. He currently holds a job at Fort Bragg where he helps soldiers who come home from war be reinserted into the workforce stateside here. And his little sister is a military nurse, still enlisted. She won a ticket lottery. She won one ticket to the Masters for the Sunday round. And she called her older brother. Actually, I think he said he's the baby, but she's the youngest girl. So she calls her brother and says, "Are you sitting down?" And he goes, "Are you okay? What's going on?" She goes, "Stop. I need you to sit down." So he sits down not knowing what's coming. And she says, "I just got an email, and I'm forwarding you the email right now. Open it." She forwards him the email. He opens it. It says, "Hello, congratulations. This is not April Fool's. This is not a joke. You have been chosen to get a ticket to the Sunday round for the Masters, the 86th Masters, on April 10th. And as he's telling me this, his hands are starting to shake. And he goes, "I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm actually here witnessing this." He goes, "I never would have dreamed that I would walk onto these grounds at this golf tournament." And to that, again, it's the encapsulation. It's you have to see it in order to try to describe it, and even then you just can't. It's impossible to do it. But those stories, the Hideki Matsuyama story, I wrote his name down, and I don't have it with me right now. But absolutely beautiful moment. And they're just everywhere. They're everywhere.
Well, and also for some of these people, this was years in the making because they had won the lottery to go to the Masters for the 2020 Masters. And so they've been waiting for this moment for their lifetime. They get it, COVID happens, and so then they had to wait another, year to finally go to it, 2 years. So, the excitement for a lot of these people was even, more than what it normally would have been.
Well, it was amazing from the second we got there Monday morning with the Tiger effect all the way through Scotty Scheffler winning the 86 Masters. Congratulations to him again. Congratulations to Tiger. Tiger was very good to us this week, and my gratitude is beyond measure for the time that he gave us.
I just know that when I was in that room, it's the closest I've ever been to him. And as I'm holding, standing there, taking your photos, I noticed I was shaking.
Yeah.
Because I was in the presence of arguably the greatest golfer ever.
There's so many layers to it. There's so many layers to the Tiger Woods story, right? And I've told the redemption story on here. When you look at this equation, there are so many variables in it. There is, to your point, Travis, COVID. There has been no gathering of full tilt patrons at the Masters since Tiger won in 2019. So there's that aspect of it. It was full tilt again. There is the fact that 14 months ago he crashed a car in a horrific accident that resulted in open fractures of his leg that now was surgically repaired with rods and plates and pins and screws and all this other whatnot. There is the fact that he might have lost that leg, that he could have died, that he's full of this humility and wants to project that. It's just Hollywood couldn't write it. And I'm grateful for him that he had the opportunity to go out on his terms. I think about Dale Jr. When Dale Jr. went through his concussion issues, he was hell-bent to come back to the cockpit of that 88 car on his own so that he could go out the way he wanted to go out and not have some doctor tell him, you're done. He wanted to say, I'm done. He didn't want somebody else telling him he was done. And I've not asked Tiger this question. I don't know this answer. But I would imagine, at least in some small way, that was part of this. And I'm just, it's marvelous. It was huge for golf. The ratings were outrageous. And that's the Tiger effect, man.
I pose this question to you, and Wes, you haven't heard this, so I'm curious what you and other people think. Scotty Scheffler wins the Masters. He went to Texas. Is Texas back?
I'll answer your question with a question. Do Texas golfers still say hook 'em?
There's a lot of Texas
in
golfers
golf,
who are Masters champions. I know that
you
much.
You don't want to hook it,
Travis, get that list out, that graphic you have on your phone. It's Ben Crenshaw, Jordan Spieth, Justin Leonard. Now it's Scheffler.
Ben Crenshaw, Tom Kite, Mark Brooks, Justin Leonard, and Jordan Spieth are
major champions
from the University of Texas. And I'm guessing here in a year or two, the SEC is going to claim all of these.
Yeah,
victories.
as they should.
I love when old Big Ten Travis shows up.
The Big Ten couldn't add Texas, so they would do the same thing.
I was in the carpool line this morning.
Do we have a Vivian question? We haven't had one in a few weeks.
I actually have a Mia question that is awesome. Hold on, I got to get my notes up here. But before we get to that, let me finish that other comment. Fancy came on. I always listen to Prime Country. I'm trying to inject some good music into my little girl's veins, and maybe they'll remember it the way my parents did for me. And Fancy comes on. That song is timeless, and that song is so great. The writing is unbelievable. The story is unbelievable. And Reba McEntire's delivery of that character, like she put that character in that song into a syringe, and she injected that character into her soul so that she could sing that song that way. And it takes a special talent to deliver that message that way. And it's just remarkable. If y'all have not heard it in a while, go back and listen to it. Because, I mean, it was like 1985 or something. I don't even know what year that song came out. I was a kid. But
Cover of Bobby Gentry's 1969 single.
It's unbelievable. Okay, let me find Mia's question here.
It can be difficult listening to tunes in the car. Strike a balance between what you want to listen to, not totally devolve into, Coco Melon or whatever. I don't even know if your kids are young enough to have that in their lives, Marty, but I'm sure you had something else that all the kids were listening to, and I have to draw a line. I can't be riding around listening to the Frozen soundtrack on repeat, pridefully.
I know it by heart. I know every word of the
part
Frozen
of that.
soundtrack. You
got to entertain them, but you also got to educate them and bring them along and show them an example of some real music to grow up to.
So Mia's question is awesome. Daddy, why do people call Las Vegas, Vegas, but they don't call Los Angeles, Angeles?
So you're telling me that all of your kids are just sitting here asking you these?
I swear, dude. I'm not making this shit up. I swear these are the questions they ask me.
They're throwing some mid-season heat at you every single day. How do you even stay on your toes? Do you answer them all the time? Or do you just say, I'm going to have to get back to you?
I try. But I try, but there's no how do you answer that question? I pose it to you, the people, the loyal Marty Smith Podcast Legion. Answer this for us. Daddy, why do they call Las Vegas, Vegas, but they don't call Los Angeles, Angeles? Help us out. Because I got nothing. I don't know.
It just doesn't roll off your tongue. That's why. Like Vegas, baby. Like it's Angeles, baby. It just doesn't sound the same.
But it could if somebody had done it in 1950.
So
it's just like anything else. If somebody was like, man, I'm going to head out to Angeles.
I bet there's someone that calls it Angeles. There's the Vegas thing's interesting because Vegas loses the loss, but you can also add Vegas to other places like Starkville. People call Stark Vegas. So you're adding Vegas then to other locales.
Yeah, I tried to, when she asked the question, I just looked, she rides in the front seat and Vivi rides in the back seat. And I just looked at her and I was like, that's an unbelievable question. I love that that's where their minds are. I love that. I pride myself on being a talented question crafter of those whom I interview. But my kids at this young age are better at it than I am. Travis, you have something that you desperately want to share with us. I think I just spit on my keyboard. That was attractive.
Speaking of Los Angeles, is anybody else bothered by the Angels in their name? Because it's just the Department of Redundancy department.
What's going on?
I have no idea what
Travis,
you're talking
what's going
about.
on over there, man?
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah, that's a little much.
It's just the Department of Redundancy department. The Angels.
I mean, it's definitely too much. I mean, I remember, like, when I was a kid, they were the California Angels. That's how old I am. I'm old as pond water. Did Rod Carew ever play for the California Angels? I feel like he did, but maybe not. I feel like I had a Rod Carew Angels card. Yeah, look it up, Travis. That's your department.
He did. He played for the California Angels from 79
there you
to
go.
85.
Okay.
I think they need. I get that they play in Anaheim, but Anaheim's in California. They need to go back to the California Angels.
It just sounds cool. California Angels. But I get it. There's the Dodgers, there's the Padres, there's all kinds of California teams. So I can understand why they made it a little more micro. But Anaheim Angels is plenty. It suffices. You don't need to go all that other drivel.
I kind of like the
said.
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Kind of sounds like a biker gang. It's very specific.
It is very specific. Do you think they wear leather jackets with like a skull on the back, slamming a cold beer and like riding a tiger?
I think you're onto something. I think they need to make special jerseys for like one game where it looks like a cut that bikers wear.
Like the Harley night with the Los Angeles Anaheim of Angels. Anaheim? Angels of Anaheim? Whatever they're called.
One other uniform note before we depart. Went to the Waffle House with the buddy on Saturday, and I had a Masters hat on. And our server said, "Did you get those Adidas waffle shoes?" And I said, "No, did you?" And she said, "No, I didn't get them. They had a lottery for those two, and we couldn't get them." And I just would like to recommend to Waffle House, a brand that I respect and enjoy, hook up your people with those waffle shoes because they want them just like everyone else does.
I immediately texted the great Jeff Collins, the head football coach of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who is the most passionate Waffle House consumer ever. Every single morning that man has a Waffle House sweet tea cup in his hand. And I said, and they're an Adidas school. Georgia Tech is an Adidas school. So I hit him up. I'm like, "Bro, did you get the Waffle House golf shoes yet?" And he said, "No, but the CEO tells me that they are in the mail." That day, he sends me a photograph. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I had multiple friends text me asking me if I could get them those shoes. Now, I failed. One place that I failed at the par 3 contest is I looked down at Sergio Garcia's feet, and I said, "Those are the Waffle House shoes. I know they are." But then I could see the back heel of his shoe, and there was no Waffle House. I did not study the shoes well enough on the interwebs because the Waffle House is actually up on like the Achilles tendon sort of area, and that was covered by his pants, and they were the Waffle House shoes, and I failed. I should have asked him about it.
For many of us here in the Southland.
Wes is on his Hey, it took 1 hour, but that was a great joke. Here you go. Here is the photograph that the great Jeff Collins sent me. Look at this. That is a happy man right there, ladies and gentlemen. He has his Waffle House Adidas golf shoes, and apparently, I guess they come in a box that looks like a Waffle House.
That's actually
how about that's even cooler, Wes?
Kickoff of a Georgia Tech football game as well.
Oh, Wes, I'm not too sure, but did your wife bring the flamethrower into your office in the last 5 minutes?
Now, I've got a question for you, Marty. You are a well-known Nike Jordans
Correct.
guy. Would you make an exception for this?
No, I wouldn't, and here's why. I have Cool Gray 11 golf shoes. I have Concord 11 golf shoes. I have Air Max 97 Crystal golf shoes. I have AJ1 golf shoes. I'm good in the golf shoe department. But, oh, wait, Travis, wait a minute. This is a very important topic. All right, so Waffle House and Adidas. The great Wes Blankenship has requested that you send him some Waffle House Adidas.
I request that
golf
Waffle
shoes.
House and Adidas send several pairs to the people that actually work at Waffle House.
I repeat, Adidas and Waffle House, the great Wes Blankenship has requested that you send him a pair of Waffle House Adidas golf shoes. Out. Let me tell you who is winning the golf bag department. Did you see my boy Daniel Berger's John Deere golf bag? Did you see this thing? This golf bag he has lapped the field in the golf bag department, y'all. It is, if y'all have not seen it, Daniel just signed a PSA of some form or fashion with John Deere. And so his golf bag is now a John Deere golf bag. It is white, a little hint of John Deere yellow, and it is John Deere green. It says John Deere all the way up the side, big John Deere stitching. It has the Deere logo on like the ball compartment area. It is awesome. And all it is missing is stitching between his last name Berger and the little airline. I guess he probably has a PSA with this Nicholas Air or whatever they are too. It should. I have told him this. I sent him a note, dude. You have to get him to put Billy Bob loves Charlene. Stitch it in that golf bag, and you will win. You will. I mean, you will become a man of the people. You will be the redneck golfer.
That's growing the game, man.
For whom we all cheer.
He's got some competition on rednecks joining golf fandom, though, with Cameron Smith. Because I know he lives in Jacksonville, Florida. I know he's from Australia. But you can't tell me that guy didn't live in Macon, Georgia in a former life.
Travis and I had a whole debate about this over Crow's Nest cold beers. And I even asked Cameron this. I interviewed him for SportsCenter on Tuesday. I said, "What do you call that thing? What do you call that, Flo? Is that the shrimp on the Barbie? Like, what are we going to call his mullet? Let's name his mullet." Okay, Marty Smith Podcast Legion, help us name Cameron Smith's mullet, because
The blooming
I mean, it's like we can't do that to him because he would scoff at the fact that an Outback Steakhouse reference was like. I mean, you know.
I call it the
Should
back
we call
nine.
that thing like the that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. Well, coupled with the horrible mustache he's repping too, there's just a lot going on there. All right, that's enough. I think we've ran our faces for an hour. That's a long time. Appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you so much. Travis, I had a blast with you in Augusta. And I am full of gratitude for that opportunity. And next week we'll have a guest. We got a couple in the queue here. We got Midland coming up. We have, who else we have coming up, Travis? Who else is on the schedule?
Aiden Hutchinson, Dusty Slayer also coming up.
We'll have Aiden Hutchinson right before the NFL draft here in a couple weeks. Dusty Slay's funny as hell. So we'll have him on the show as well. Can't wait for you guys to hear that. Spend time with those folks. We appreciate y'all listening so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this family. Please rate, review, follow, subscribe, send smoke signals, get Wes's blowtorch out. I mean, dude, you were on one there that last few minutes. I mean, throwing shade at Georgia Tech.
We can edit that one out, Travis. That was probably a low blow.
No, I think it should probably stay there.
Stay in.
Thank you so much to our law enforcement officials all over the country working so hard to keep our community safe. Those of you who in Augusta mentioned our appreciation for law enforcement, I'm grateful that you're listening to this podcast. Thank you, guys. We're grateful for what y'all do. Thank you so much to our first responders, firemen, EMTs. We're grateful for your bravery, your courage, and the same goes for the United States military. Thank you so much for your sacrifice. We are full of gratitude for being free. It is the greatest blessing. Have an awesome week, everybody. Thank you so much for being part of the Marty Smith and Outsider podcast family. Y'all be good. We'll try better next time around.